What is up, guys? It is Jack, back up in this bitch with 10 Liters Fitness. And today we're talking about dealing with hunger on a diet, right? Okay, so to begin with, let's talk about how would I recommend dieting in general, okay? Just to clear where I'm going with this video, okay? Now, so when you're dieting, what I'd recommend is that first things first, you increase your protein to around 1.5 to 2 grams per pound of body weight. Thereon in, decrease your carbs to the point that you are in a caloric deficit, okay? So, meaning you're going to be losing fat at around a pound to 2 pounds a week. That's good, okay? I mean, you can decrease it further than that if you want, but that's going slow is generally the best option in my opinion. Right. Now, to explain why protein is necessary for muscle recovery and maintaining that muscle mass whilst you're losing weight. Fats are useful in a number of body processes, and then that leaves you with carbs, which are the one that I'd say you decrease. Out of fats, carbs and proteins, carbs are probably the least useful of the three in the body. They're still useful, don't get me wrong, but which is why I'm not going to say go no carb, go low carb. Don't go low carb for too long, or you're going to find that you're fucking your body up over time, okay? But that's just why I'm going to recommend going low carb, okay? So that's where we're going with this video. Right. So from there, dealing with hunger in a diet through when you're low carb dieting often comes around because carb sources, your major carb sources, are typically, well, they make up the bulk of the meal, right? With every meal. So they're typically the fluff that fills up the plate. They're the volume on your plate of food, okay? So for example, they're the potatoes, they're the pasta, they're the rice, they're the bread, you know. So they typically make up, like I say, the main bulk of your food. So why people typically get hungry when they're low carb dieting is because they don't, instead of substituting these foods, they just completely cut them out. Which means you're going to end up from a plate of, I don't know, chicken in sauce with pasta to a plate of chicken and sauce, right? So that's obviously going to be a very smaller serving size compared to the version with pasta in it, okay? Now, what I invite you to do, an idea that I really think you should use, is one of substitution. So where you would have carbs in a meal, you take that out and then you replace it with things like leafy vegetables, or basically any kind of low carb alternative, okay? So the reason I bring up vegetables is because for the most part vegetables are extremely low calorie and extremely high fiber. Fiber is going to fill you up, and the volume of these foods, because you can have a lot of them without having particularly high calories, so you can have a bulky plate of vegetables. And that's going to be high fiber and low calorie. I mean, in fact, with vegetables, most of the time they're so low calorie that I just treat them as negligible. With the exception of things like potatoes and sweet potatoes, of course, you know, because those are more calorific, if that's a word. Because those do tend to be higher in calories, okay? But with the exception of those two, most vegetables I simply treat as just you know, negligible calories. I don't even record them when I'm tracking my macros, okay? So what I'll do is, if I have a plate of, like I say, chicken in sauce on pasta, what I'll do is I'll take that pasta, or some of the pasta, and I'll replace it with some low-calorie vegetables. So it'll be maybe a plate of maybe some broccoli. I might replace it with some mixed vegetables just to change things up, give the plate some colour, that kind of thing. Now, if you look at the comparison between the two, you're going to find that as a result of taking the carbs out, the dish is much lower calorie, okay, than it was before. But you can see what's important and what's useful in dealing with hunger in this case is that you've still got a large plate of food, you've still got that volume, and you've also got a lot more fibre in there as well, guys. I mean, for example, why I think that kind of thing is useful is, I mean, how many people do you know that can eat a whole bowl of broccoli and still want food after? Who can still you can eat a whole apple and then say, you know, I still want to eat. Okay guys, so that's pretty much my take on substitution. That's pretty much my method of dealing with hunger whilst I'm low carb dieting. Alright, I hope that was very helpful, very informative. I have been Jack with 10 Liters Fitness, so thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.